Long before the printing press, before the councils of bishops and scholars gathered to decide what should and should not be included in the Holy Scriptures, there existed a book whispered about, hidden away, and ultimately cast aside. A book that claims to reveal secrets of angels, giants, and the very origin of evil itself. It is called the Book of Enoch. For centuries it was banished, declared heretical, and almost completely erased from Western tradition. Yet strangely, fragments of it survived, in dusty monasteries in Ethiopia, in fragments from the caves of Qumran, and in the memories of scholars who wondered why a text so ancient and so influential was deliberately removed from the canon of the Bible. What secrets does it contain that made it too dangerous, too controversial to be read by the faithful? The Book of Enoch is unlike any scripture you've ever heard. It tells of a time when heavenly beings, called the Watchers, descended upon the earth. These beings were not distant gods nor mere messengers, but angels who walked among men. They took wives from the daughters of humanity and taught them secrets not meant for mortal hands. They revealed the arts of weaponry, sorcery, astrology, and hidden knowledge. And from these unions were born giants, the Nephilim, monstrous beings that devoured the earth, drained its resources, and turned mankind towards corruption. Imagine a world where titans roamed, where forbidden knowledge was passed down in secret, where humanity was caught in the crossfire of heavenly rebellion. This is the world described in Enoch, a world both wondrous and terrifying. But who was Enoch? According to Genesis, he was the great-grandfather of Noah, a man who walked with God and was taken to heaven without tasting death. The Bible speaks of him only briefly, but the Book of Enoch expands his story into a sweeping vision. Enoch becomes not just a righteous man, but a prophet, granted a tour of the heavens, shown visions of the future, and entrusted with divine secrets hidden from all others. In his journeys, Enoch describes the architecture of heaven, palaces of crystal, fiery rivers, and thrones surrounded by countless angelic hosts. He witnesses the fate of the fallen angels, chained in darkness, awaiting judgment. He sees the destiny of the righteous and the wicked, and he reveals prophecies that stretch from his time all the way to the end of the world. What makes this book so shocking is not just its vivid imagery, but its claims. If true, it suggests that humanity's earliest history was shaped by beings from beyond our world. Beings who interfered, corrupted, and left behind a legacy that lingers in myth and memory. The Nephilim, these half-divine giants, echo in legends of titans, of cyclopes, of monstrous heroes across countless cultures. Could these stories, scattered across the world, all point back to the same truth? For early Christians, the Book of Enoch was no mere curiosity. Church fathers like Tertullian and Origen quoted it, debated it, and in some cases, considered it scripture. The New Testament itself references it. The Epistle of Jude directly quotes a prophecy from Enoch. How could a banned, forgotten book be quoted within the Bible itself? And yet, by the 4th century, councils of church leaders had begun to narrow the canon. Books that raised difficult questions, that hinted at cosmic battles and angelic rebellions, were quietly set aside. Enoch was one of them. Too strange, too dangerous, too incompatible with the tidy theology being constructed. It vanished from the Western Bible, preserved only in Ethiopia, where the Orthodox Church still holds it sacred to this day. But history has a way of revealing what was hidden. In the 18th century, explorers in Abyssinia brought back manuscripts of the Book of Enoch, stunning scholars who thought it had been lost forever. Then, in the mid-20th century, fragments of it were discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls at Qumran, proving that this was no medieval invention, but an ancient text cherished by Jewish sects around the time of Jesus. Why then was it suppressed? Some argue that its tales of angels and giants were too fantastical, too close to pagan myth. Others say it revealed a version of history that clashed with the narrative the church wanted to control. Still others whisper that it exposed secrets about the heavenly realm and the nature of evil that authorities preferred to bury. Enoch describes in detail the rebellion of the Watchers, angels who lusted after human women and taught mankind forbidden arts. They revealed the making of weapons, the secrets of the stars, the use of plants for enchantments, and even cosmetics. Knowledge that led to violence, vanity, and corruption. It was this corruption, Enoch claims, that led God to send the great flood, to wipe clean the earth and preserve only Noah and his family. If true, then our story as humans is far older and far stranger than we are taught. It suggests that civilization did not rise slowly and independently, but was jump-started by otherworldly beings, and that their influence nearly destroyed us. Modern scholars dismiss this as myth, but consider this. Almost every ancient culture speaks of gods or beings descending from the sky, teaching humanity arts and sciences. The Sumerians spoke of the Anunnaki, the Greeks of the Titans, the Hindus of celestial beings. Could they all be echoes of the same event? Could Enoch be the missing link that ties them together? The mysteries deepen when we look at prophecy. Enoch speaks of a coming Messiah, of judgment, of a new heaven and a new earth. These visions bear striking resemblance to the Book of Revelation, written centuries later. Did Revelation draw from Enoch, or did both stem from a shared, older tradition, now mostly forgotten? There is also the question of astronomy. Enoch records detailed observations of the movements of the sun, moon, and stars, describing calendars and cycles with uncanny precision. Some researchers argue that this reveals a level of knowledge unusual for its time. How could a shepherd from the ancient world describe cosmic laws with such accuracy? Unless he had been shown. And then there are the Nephilim. If they truly existed, what became of them? Did they all perish in the flood? Or do their echoes remain in myths of giants, in unexplained skeletal finds, in the megalithic structures scattered across the globe? From the towering stones of Baalbek to the colossal statues of Easter Island, one wonders if humanity alone could have achieved such feats. The Book of Enoch forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. What if our history is not as straightforward as we believe? What if powerful truths were deliberately hidden, locked away to keep us from understanding who we really are and where we truly came from? Perhaps that is why it was banned. Not because it was false, but because it was too close to truths that threatened the order of things. Truths about the origins of evil, about humanity's forgotten past, and about the cosmic battle that rages still. Today, the Book of Enoch is no longer hidden. Anyone can read it, but whether you see it as sacred revelation, ancient myth, or dangerous heresy, it remains one of the most haunting and provocative texts ever written. It speaks of angels and giants, of light and darkness, of secrets written in the stars. It dares us to believe that our world is stranger than we imagine. And so, the question lingers, the same one that has haunted readers for centuries. If the Book of Enoch was erased, what else has been hidden? What other truths lie buried in forgotten caves, sealed manuscripts, and fragments yet to be discovered? Perhaps the greatest mystery is not what the book reveals, but why we were never meant to read it.